Welcome back. My name is Becca.
My name is Stacy,
And this is Topic Toss. If you're a returning listener, you know that I did Topic Toss this spring semester. Stacy and I have decided that we wanted to do this together. So we're both very excited for you guys to hear us. We're still doing stories, advice, and music to pass the time together. And with that being said, let's get into this week's topic. This week's topic is relationships. Stacy, please walk us through why you decided to do relationships this week.
Not because I have experience, but because relationships are so messy. And I feel like it was a perfect first topic because there's so much we could talk about. We could go on for days.
There really is. They don't miss. They never stop. And there's just constantly more content on them.
Always.
Because let's be honest, people talk about their relationships way more than they probably should.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they are fully willing to talk about them to strangers.
On the internet.
On the internet. So with that being said, let's get into story number 1. All right, so this one's pretty simple for our first one. I thought that we'd get ourselves going with like a little short one.
Okay.
How much money should one spend on an engagement ring realistically? This is off of the Ask Men Reddit, and it says, what's a balanced number where you're not considered a cheapskate, but you're also not being a complete simp, head over heels type of guy going over the top on an engagement ring? I'm earning around $60K a year as an entry-level electrician, and I wouldn't want to spend more than $2 to $3K on a ring since it's not financially responsible to go above that for me. What are your thoughts?
Okay.
I have a feeling we're going to have a little bit of a differing thought just because me and you are very different
We
people.
are different. But, okay. I understand where he's coming from. I think it's definitely financially smart to plan out how much you're going to spend on a ring.
Also, green flag.
Yeah, it is a green flag. But he gave me a little bit of a red flag when he said, without being a simp and blowing it. Because she's your girlfriend and you want to marry her. I think it's so weird to say, like, buying something extravagant for your partner as calling that a simp and looking that as a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you love her, I'm not saying blow all your money, but you would want to get her something that she's going to love.
Yes, I highly agree. Now, with that being said, my number is not going to be very high.
That's fair.
Because you know what? I am somebody who I don't care. I'll take fake rings. Like, I don't, like, get me some, like, random silver or something. I'm fine with that. I don't need, like, highly expensive stuff. But the attitude going in is where I'm like, what do you mean by that?
Exactly.
Because the simp part threw me off, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to think about that. I'm just thinking about the ring and, like, my future guy. If I'm being completely honest, anything over $1,000 for me, you're wasting your money.
That's fair.
Like,
I think that's fair.
You can find plenty of rings that are good quality.
Yeah.
And good quality doesn't mean that it has to be the best rock.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't give anything for, like, the size of rock and all this.
Yeah,
I'd rather have something meaningful and something that you went out of your way to go and find.
Yes.
Like, I care more about you and, like, your journey trying to find it versus seeing how much money you can spend.
Yeah. I prefer it that it's meaningful and you bought it because you know I would like it.
Yeah, and,
like,
and putting the time into figuring out what you know I would want.
Exactly.
Because we all have our individual styles. If it took you some time and, like, looking at my own jewelry and seeing, like, what styles I like and stuff like that, that's where, like, the importance comes in for me, not the price tag.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, if your girlfriend is asking for the price tag and how much you spent, reconsider the fact that you want to marry her. Because that is not the most important thing about it.
Important thing.
It shouldn't. So with that being said, this, like, particular person, if you think 2 to 3K is, like, your good range, stick to it. You don't need to do more than that. If you needed to go cheaper financially or just, like, found something that was cheaper, that's not a problem. Fine. And again, if you find a girl who's like, you're a cheapskate because you spent this amount of money, rethink.
Yeah, maybe you're with the wrong person.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I couldn't help myself. Like, genuinely, I could not help myself. The first song that came to mind was Marry Me by Jason Derulo. Because I was like, aw, like, it's just so adorable. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'm going to have Stacy listen to this at the same time. And I hope you guys just, like, meld over the cuteness together. All right, getting right into our second story. I decided to go to Ask Reddit And one of the questions was, what's the most vengeful thing you ever done? And I can't tell you,
God.
I spent so long. Stacy was with me when I went through this. I spent so long just looking for things that had to do with relationships and exes, like an ungodly amount of time. And the responses were flawless, but almost none of them were about relationships. But I found a couple.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
We'll start with like a small one.
Mhm.
Which is, I once set up a fake dating profile and messaged my ex-wife. Of course, I knew just what to say to her to hook her. I set up a coffee date and then no-showed by messaging her that I had walked in, saw her, and left because she was so unattractive. Yeah, I'm not proud of that. In my defense, she was doing everything in her power to make my life a living hell at the time, and she was succeeding. Excuse me?
I need you to look at my face right now.
If you could see Stacy, hand over the mouth, eyes wide.
That's so... That's so mean.
It's awful, honestly.
That would break my self-esteem for the rest of my life.
I would never get into the dating scene again.
Ever.
Because obviously, like, the way it's worded, I would guess that they were probably married for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
So they're probably, like, slightly older in the dating scene. Yeah. I'd be like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah, I can stay single. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I've got the rest of my life. I'll just do it myself.
What did she do to warrant that treatment?
Like,
That's what I want to know.
I want to know more.
Because for me, the only thing that can justify this is, like, cheating.
But the way that it's said, it says that, like, she's doing everything in her power to make my life a living hell. I'm guessing it's probably to do, like, with the divorce itself.
Yeah, probably.
But again, what could she have done?
What could she have done that's that bad?
Like, honestly.
Because also...
I need more context.
That means he planned this all out. He made the dating profile. He set it to oh my God.
He would have had to sit there and swipe
No,
swipe
but he
until
also
he found
had
her.
to set his profile to be everything that she would want for her to not only get him as a profile to match, but also for her to swipe on him.
Yes. And then on top of that, the time that it would take to go from, okay, we're messaging to each other to now we're going to meet each other.
Yeah.
This is dedication and time. Like, this is not just like I'll randomly message her. No. Dating apps don't work like that.
No.
Like, if you wanted to say like Facebook, maybe.
Sure.
Easy. You make a fake profile.
And you just
add and then you
and that's
message. Like, that's easy. This takes time and dedication.
Because he had to mess with the algorithm and then talk to her long enough for her to say yes to a date.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to know what she did, but also, sir, maybe you're the problem.
I'm guessing that therapy is really on the table.
Very much needed. God.
Now, this next one on the same Reddit is a lot longer.
Okay.
And it's a doozy, to say the least.
Okay, strapping in.
My ex-fiance dumped me for my ex-best friend.
Oh.
Yeah. For over 2 years, his mother used to call me to tell me how much she hated my ex-bestie, what a white trash blank she was, and how her son was just sowing old oats.
Okay.
More than once, she ugly cried to me and then to my mom, begging me to wait for him. F that. I made sure that they stayed together even while they were insisting I was some psycho bully ex, trying to come between them. Not by a long shot. Rather, I took every chance I had to remind his mom that ex-bestie was her son's choice, and she needed to accept it. I reminded her more than once that she could be her daughter-in-law someday, which brought on another round of choke sobbing. Oh my God, don't say that. And I reminded her that she called me a white trash blank too.
Ooh.
Whenever I'd bump into former mutual friends and family members who wanted to bend my ear about how immoral and gross, their words, not mine, ex-boyfriend and ex-best friend's relationship was, or try to tell me that she was fatter, uglier than me, whatever, I reiterated that they were soulmates, as they'd been telling everyone. Weight and looks were irrelevant. Even ex's stepfather treated me to a short but spirited diatribe about their selfishness and how much he disliked ex-bestie. Yes, but that is X's choice, and you need to accept it and be respectful of that, I'd say. Because of how they got together, there was no way they could split because they'd perceive it as me winning. So yes, ex-bestie, I helped you make sure that you stayed with an abusive man-baby mama's boy with rapey tendencies who thought the back door was his right as a man. I also made sure that you had to live up to all of his mother's meddling BS with a few suggestions for bonding with you. Remember how all you wanted was to get married and have children? Yeah, X is shooting blanks. So you get to choose him or your big dream of being a mom. Of course you'll stay with the guy and give up everything you previously wanted, right? And yes, X, I made sure that after you dumped me for being overweight and having mental issues, that you got stuck with the terminally ill, screaming liar who whips people with her illness and was obsessed with marriage and having kids, constantly gaining weight from medications, and who will drain every cent and ounce of life out of you. Yep, you're soulmates. I went to uni, got my MA and a PhD at 2 top 5 schools, and have multiple publications. Just celebrated 26th anniversary with my amazing, delightful partner, who still gives me goosebumps when he kisses me, and the last several decades have involved the two of us living life all over the world. As far as I know, the soulmates are still together too. I'm just grateful that I got multiple bad, selfish a-holes out of my life at once. Stacy.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
You know what? I like this version of revenge because she didn't really have to do much.
No.
They did it to themselves.
And you know what? It's all disguised super well as her being nice.
Yeah.
And you know what? We both openly admit we are really petty.
Yeah.
And we just
and I'll
wish
do it always.
We wish that we had the ability to have moments like this.
Mm-hmm.
It is perfect.
It is perfect.
It is honestly perfect. And I wish I could be her.
Mm-hmm.
I will never be her.
Yeah.
I want to be her so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was just like, no, everybody, don't you see? They're
soulmates.
They love each other.
Knowing they're the most incompatible people possible.
I'm sorry. The part where she was like, oh, you want a family and kids?
Hate to break it to you.
He's shooting blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're upset that I gained weight and that's why you broke up with me? Too bad she's on medications that will constantly change her weight.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to push you guys together.
Mm-hmm.
And together. And together. Yeah. And make sure everybody in your lives just knows how happy you two are together.
Mm-hmm.
Also, screw you for being my friend and my boyfriend and getting together.
So awful. Like, out of all the men in the world,
that's the one you had to go for?
You picked my ex?
Of all the girls you can cheat on me with,
right?
Or do something, or like leave me for, my friend,
my best friend. That's crazy.
Really?
Do better.
Honestly, genuinely,
do better.
2 garbage people put together. I always say this. I tell this to Stacy all the time.
Mm.
You know what? They're both awful people, and I don't think that they deserve to be awful together, but at the same time, we're saving 2 other people from awful people.
At least 2 awful people can deal with each other.
Yeah, and they'll just be awful together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, you know, what just gives off vengeful vibes as far as a song
mm-hmm.
in terms of like relationships?
Mm-hmm.
So What by Pink.
Mm.
She is such a badass in that song, and she really is just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Screw you and where you came from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so going on to our next one, I got one off of r/Am I the A-hole?
Oh, classic.
And this one made no sense to me because I'm like, where in this are you supposed to be the a-hole? But we'll get to that. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend the truth about her friends? My girlfriend and I have been together for 4 months. She always talks so highly of her friends, so I was excited to meet them. It turns out that they're awful people. I met them yesterday for lunch, and immediately they started teasing her for her degree choice, calling it basic, and that they've never imagined her in a relationship. They then continued to leave a few passive-aggressive comments about her looks and lack of relationship experience. My blood was boiling, but she was just smiling the whole time and not reacting to these comments in any negative way. I didn't want to ruin the meal, so I bit my tongue, but I hate these people. Once we got back to her place, I brought this up, and she said, "That's just how they are. We poke fun at each other." Here's where I might be the a-hole. I refused to let that slide because they obviously were not doing it as a joke and they were just being rude. No one else poked fun at anyone but her. She got upset and told me to please stop saying mean things about her friends, and they've been hanging out since middle school and I don't know them like she does. I kept insisting that I'm not being mean and that they are, and she would never say any of those things to them. She was quiet for a moment and then asked me to leave. She hasn't messaged me since. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend the truth about her friends?
Okay. So, no, I don't think he's an a-hole at all. But I do think he's just, how do I put this? Just not seeing it from his girlfriend's perspective of they've been friends since middle school. And I don't know her, but if I had to guess, I'm going to assume this has just been her life. Always. They've always poked fun of her and she's just gotten used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So for her, that is normal, which is really sad. But so I think someone else coming in and being like, hey, your friends are awful people, to her, she's like...
It's kind of like an attack.
Exactly. Because she's just like, no, this is just how they are. This is how all friends are because that's all she knows.
Yeah. The way that I see it is like she's not realizing that this is wrong.
Yeah.
Because of how young they were when this started.
Exactly.
They've been friends since middle school. Developmentally, this is all she knows.
Yeah.
And I highly agree with him that he is not the a-hole, because at the end of the day, he is doing better by her. It would be different if he was like, oh, they suck, get rid of them. Right. And like trying to control her. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to control her. He's being like, hey, listen, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And I think that that's good boyfriending.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, a-hole? No. But I highly recommend you think about it from her point of view.
Yeah.
Like you said. Because she might just not get it.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what ages these people are. Right. I'm guessing they're probably around our age. Yeah. Early 20s, late teens maybe. Which like college age.
A long time to be friends with someone.
Yes.
And those are probably her only friends at this point.
Yes. And that's probably why she's like, oh, this is normal. That's how we are.
Exactly.
But if this girl were to ever hear this somehow in some random capacity, I really hope she realizes, A, that's not okay. B, get new friends.
You deserve better.
You deserve better. And normal friends will not treat you that way.
No.
You know, even with her saying like, oh, you know, what did she say? We poke fun at each other.
There's a difference between poking fun and just being mean.
Yeah, but also it's not at each other. It's at you.
Yeah.
Because they also didn't, like he said, they didn't poke fun at each other. Mm-hmm. All of them were doing it to her. And the more and more it happens, it's just a cycle. It's going to keep going. Mm-hmm. So either A, bring up to your friends like, hey, this is not okay. We need to stop doing this. Mm-hmm. Or just say, okay, like, I can't handle being friends with you anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? It sucks losing friends, but at the same time, like, what good are they bringing you
exactly.
then? Like, nothing.
At all.
So I found the cutest song, and I was like, oh my God. Imagine if the boyfriend dedicated this song to the girlfriend to, like, help her know better about herself. Yellow by Coldplay.
Aww.
It is so cute. And just the way that, like, the song holds the girl on a pedestal just shows, like, this is how you need to think of yourself. Mm-hmm. So I hope you guys enjoy. So this one is off of the r/dating advice Reddit. And it says, we've been messaging for 2 weeks and nothing. I, 25F, met this guy on a dating app about 2 weeks ago. I started the messaging just because there was actually something interesting that caught my eye in general, and I was curious about it. We've been talking for 2 weeks. He's slightly older than me, 32M, and he had made comments about that. Our conversation has been friendly, and I'd say at times maybe even a little bit flirty. Although I'm not 100% sure on this one because he's very subtle. He's not ending the conversation. In fact, I'd say he initiates most of the conversations. But he hasn't asked me to hook up or go on a date. I'm not sure if this is an age thing. This is the biggest age difference that I've ever experienced, but I'm a bit confused. He's been talking and I'm interested, but I'm also not sure why he isn't asking me out, trying to hook up, or even flirting / being slightly sexual. What gives? Have you ever thought maybe you could ask him out?
That's what I was gonna say. Why doesn't she just ask?
Like, what do you mean, what gives? How about
Girl,
you
open your mouth?
Exactly. I was like, Listen, I am not the most outgoing person, okay? We all know this. I am very shy. Just the thought of texting somebody, how was your day, can send me into a spiral. But if I was sitting here like, man, I really want them to ask me out on a date. I really want them to ask me out.
And you're like constantly talking. Girl, just
ask
him. You don't even have to say it like, you don't even have to put it as if it's a date. You could just be like, hey, do you want to like go grab a coffee?
What are you doing this weekend?
Yeah.
I'm going to this place. Do you want to grab coffee? Oh, there's this event happening. Do you want to go to it together?
Yeah.
Like, I will never understand the need for it always to be like the man making the move. Like, if you want it,
just ask.
Go.
Just do it.
What's holding us back as being the girl in the situation, wanting, especially because like I don't want to say older because they're really not, but as when you think of like dating and like online dating, you always think of like 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what is like holding her back, but if anything, that should make you want to do it more.
Yeah.
We're getting older. We're getting wiser. Just go and do it. If you want him to ask you out so bad, maybe he wants you to ask him out too. All I ever hear about is guys being like, why don't girls make the first move? We don't know.
No, yeah.
We don't know. It, like, just make it. If you want it so bad. Just say it. Because at this point, maybe he's just like, oh, this isn't going anywhere. I'm starting all of the conversations. I'm the one that's constantly texting. And
he's probably thinking she's not interested because she's not like making the first move.
At this point, it's making it sound like you guys aren't even talking about like possibly entertaining it. Because like you said, it's only been 2 weeks. Right. Maybe we just need to cool it a little bit. Like if you're not certain enough to like want to be the one to initiate, then what are we doing? No, right. Online dating is not about like, oh, let's talk for 3 years before we go and do. No. If you want it, go do it. That's all I can think to say. And when I was thinking about songs, you're going to find this one funny, Stacey. Okay. When I was thinking about songs, I was like, ooh, okay, this back and forth of like, we can tell we like each other. Why isn't something happening? You Belong With Me, Taylor Swift. Aww, love. Like, all I'm imagining is them, instead of it being through windows with like their little like boards or like their cards, it just being on text message of them sitting there like, send, and nothing happening. Like, just go and do it. Like Taylor Swift did. Just go to that prom, bring your little card that says I love you, and let it be. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it doesn't, go to the next one. Right. So I hope you guys enjoy. So going into our last one of the week, we have, again, on the r/dating advice Reddit, girl says that it's fun texting me, but it takes days to respond. So I, 21 male, have been texting this girl, 20F, for a couple weeks now. We share the same class at uni, so we met through there, and I got her number when we became friends. Just in the last week, we've been texting a good amount within an hour or two in between replies every day, but on Friday night, today is Monday, I sent the last text to her and she didn't respond. On Saturday, I reached out in the evening around 7 saying that I feel like I might be bugging her with my texts as she works on the weekends, and to let me know if I am. To which she replied that I'm not bothering her, but she just runs around a lot on the weekends. At this point, I'm like, okay, it's not a big problem. I was just overreacting/overthinking. We text a little bit more that night, and at the end, I say I'll try to text less or something on weekends, to which she replies, it's all good, it's fun texting you. Again, this all happened on Saturday night. I sent my last text to her on that same night, and she still hasn't texted me back since. I got out of a long-term relationship recently, and it was heavily reliant on texting and communication. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting and need to chill out or what, but I need some input here desperately. I really like her, and it seems one second it's all going really good, and the next I'm beating myself up as to why I thought she actually did like me. Saying stuff like it's fun texting me and I'm not bothering her, then not replying for 2 days and counting. Thanks to anyone who replies. Thoughts?
Okay. It could be one of two things. Either A, she's a really bad texter, or B, since he's saying it's specifically on the weekends, right? Mm-hmm. She might just have something on the weekends where she just can't text.
I'm also going to reiterate, she did say she works on weekends.
Then yeah.
She is busy on weekends, and that she doesn't care if he keeps texting her because it's fun texting him.
Mm-hmm.
I think you are.
I think he's just overthinking it.
Yeah, I think you are overthinking it. And at the end of the day, it's okay to like somebody and overthink a little bit. Like, I think we all do it. But just don't let it take over, like, everything.
And don't try to get, like, clingy or controlling.
And I think it does stem, like he said, out of this, like, I just got out of a long-term relationship. It was heavily reliant on texting and communication. I think you are treating this like you were already in the relationship because you're, like, in that mindset from just getting out of it. Just try and get back into that, like, dating mindset versus, like, we are tied down. Because they've only been texting for a couple weeks. Right. And they're 21 and 20. We just need to calm down a little bit. Just a little itty bitty bit. But when I was thinking about songs, this one made me laugh. I thought of Bad Liar by Selena Gomez. Because it's kind of like this same vibe of like, I'm a bad liar trying to act like I don't like you. I bet you this girl wholeheartedly knows that you like her. Oh, yeah. I bet you she knows. Yeah. Any girl that sits there and is like, wow, you're constantly texting me, you probably like me. Because we're also a little bit delusional. Our delulus run our minds. Every single one of us. You cannot tell me you're not a girl and you don't have delulus. Me and Stacey talk about delulus all the time.
At least once a day.
If not multiple times throughout the day. So honestly, she probably knows that you like her. You just need to get out of that, like, we're tied down kind of, like, thought process.
Give her
like,
some time.
Yeah. And like she said, she's busy. It's okay. Yeah. Like, seriously. It's only, when you typed this, it was only Monday. Like, the weekend just ended. Yeah. like give her some time. So, with that being said, like I said, I'm going to do Bad Liar by Selena Gomez, and I hope you guys like our last song today. So I'm hoping you guys liked our topic today and, you know, all of our stories, advice, whatever we talked about today. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well as the songs. And this is it for Topic Toss. My name is Becca.
My name is Stacey.
And we hope to see you next week. Bye.
Bye.